Hello there. Welcome back to another tutorial video. Exuma just released his little mini vegetation, netherwart farm vegetation thingamabobber, and it's really small, because it doesn't really require it to be that big in general. I thought I'd show my version that I've been using for since 1.16 came out, the Nether update came out. We have one that I made before. It's this one that's behind me, right? That was made during that time, and this one uses a little bit of newer technology. I would say newer technology, more advanced technology, but it functions basically the same. There's just a small difference at the end sequence of each farm, but it really doesn't matter in the scheme of things. Now, looking at this farm is pretty simple. If you can see here, we've got the pistons lined up like this, and underneath these two blocks is a dispenser. Now, you've really got to think about where your dispenser is going to go, because that's where you're going to outline your farm. So where your dispenser is will be the center of the 5x5 patch of dirt that you'll place down, because these things can grow on dirt. It doesn't need to be netherrack. It doesn't need to be this type of nylium, right? And then you've got to make sure that one side, even though the spaces for the pistons are the same from these sides, right? Like the glass, it's one down there. The glass here, it's one down there. If these were unextended, you got to make sure that one of them is filled with dirt, otherwise this platform won't move at all. On the side that you have more dirt on, you will have to place your other nylium. Basically, the layouts are the same. We've got the same lever in the same place, and we got the same bone meal collection here in the same place as well. So here we've got a little simple circuit here, where this goes into a block. This is 3 redstone dust going into a block with a redstone torch on the other side there. And this is the clock circuit. So it just loops back around when it does that, because every time it switches over, the block gets unpowered and the line gets unpowered. So this line powers into this redstone repeater, which goes into this line, which gets read by this observer. You don't actually need that block. And it powers up to here. If you don't really want to power like on this line and have it all glass like the other one, you could just move the observer to here, right? And if you move the observer to here, you get an output into a block, and then you can run a repeater here and then have it all go all the way over here. It'll make it a little bit bulkier, but if you don't want it to run across this, you can have that choice. And that's pretty much it. Oh, I forgot to mention here, this is actually the clock for the bone meal dispensing. So every time it shifts back and forth, the observer gets activated, and a pulse gets sent to this redstone repeater, which goes to this redstone dust and powers the dispenser, which getting fed all of the bone meal from this hopper line. So if you want to see it running, here it is. So it's pretty fast. And by the way, you can always cover these up with glass blocks so things don't fly out. And if you want a spot where you can just enter in, you can always go here. If you don't want glass blocks here and still want to be able to access the chest, you can still access the chest with the glass blocks. But you can just put some stairs, right? And it'll still have the solid side here, but you can also access the chest here as well. And you come in here and pick up all the items you want, right? So for the second design, we have a little bit of a change here. I know it looks a little bit different from the like the last clues, but trust me, you should always test things out before you make things permanent, you know. But anyway, you got this in the same basic format. You can put this down a little bit lower and have the observer a little bit lower, and you can have the same little footprint here, but it's a little bit more compact than that. Now, it takes a little bit from this contraption, although it doesn't work in some situations. But if you turn it on, you'll see that it does work, right? This one also works if you want to use it, and this is how it works. So we got a sticky piston here, and we got an observer facing up. As you can see, the output is downwards. And this goes here, which this is basically the same circuit as I just showed with the bone meal dispensing mechanism here. So this observer goes here, and it detects the shifting dirt as it sends out its first pulse. And then it will keep on it running the clock like that. So as it goes along, it goes into these 2 repeaters. Now, these 2 repeaters have to be a different length than the one tick that you saw before. This one has to be 2 ticks apart for it to work. So this one is 2 ticks, this one's 4 ticks. This one's a little bit more compact. It goes up a little bit here. Like I said, you can bring it down, bring the observer down if you want to make the line of redstone here. It pushes one side, it pushes the other side with observers. And the rails are just here because they function the same as the redstone dust, but they are not as laggy. It'll also basically end being pushed at the end. So unlike this one, because the dispensers fire a few more times because of that, since the clock is the same but different right here, the observer can't really send any more power into this. So this is the second design. You can actually power this up a little bit, but these ones have to be solid blocks. Can't really power anything else through here except for you power the block there. You can power this block through quasi connectivity. But yeah, those are the 2 little designs that I've shown you. This one is the old one, this one is the newer one, right? And they have their ups and downs. This one's a little bit more bulky. If you don't have that much gold to make the rails, you can always just replace it with redstone dust or whatever. But this design is more simple. This design is a little bit more complicated. It's pick your poison, you know what I mean? Yeah, both these farms work, and you can always access the chests on the side. You can always turn it off pretty easily, right? Although these 2 versions off states are kind of different. Have a good day. Good night, good life. And hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Let's get scratching.